The black SUV stopped so abruptly in front of the bridal boutique that pedestrians on the Brooklyn sidewalk turned to stare. Before the driver could even rush around to open the door, John Mercer stepped out himself. Tailored black suit, silver cufflinks, cold blue eyes burning with something dangerous, and in his hand, a phone displaying the wedding announcement that had made his blood run cold 30 minutes earlier. Local entrepreneur Marcus Hale to marry fashion executive Danielle Brooks this Saturday. Danielle, the girl who once stood in front of an entire cafeteria bleeding from the lip because she refused to let them humiliate him. The girl who cried in his arms and whispered, "I don't care if you're broke, John. I love you anyway." The same girl he'd spent 8 years trying and failing to forget. John shoved through the boutique doors. Employees gasped. Customers turned. Danielle froze in front of a mirror, halfway into her wedding dress. Their eyes met, and the room went silent. Her face drained of color. "John." He stared at her like a man seeing a ghost. Then his voice came low. "Deadly. You're marrying him?" The room held its breath. Danielle's maid of honor grabbed her arm. "Do you know this man?" John never looked away from Danielle. "Tell them to leave." "John, tell them," he repeated, sharper this time, "before I throw every one of them out myself." Something in his voice made everyone obey. Within seconds, the room emptied. Only the two of them remained. Danielle's chest rose and fell violently. He stepped closer, slowly, predatorily. Expensively dressed power wrapped around old pain and dangerous obsession. "You're marrying another man," he said. Her voice shook. "You disappeared." His jaw flexed. "You left." "No," she snapped. "No, don't you dare rewrite history. You vanished after graduation. No calls, no texts, no explanation, nothing." His expression darkened. "You think I left you willingly?" Danielle's eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. "You broke me." John laughed once, but there was no humor in it. "They told you I abandoned you?" Her brows furrowed. "They?" He stepped closer until her back touched the mirror. "Ask your mother what she did with the money." Danielle's breath stopped. "What?" "She took $50,000 from my father to make me disappear from your life." Her knees nearly buckled. "No." John leaned down, mouth near her ear. "She told me if I loved you, I'd leave before my poverty ruined your future. Then she lied and told you I walked away." Danielle stared at him in horror. No, she wouldn't." "She did." Her entire world tilted. 8 years. 8 years of believing the only man she'd ever truly loved abandoned her. John's eyes roamed over her wedding dress, then hardened. "You're not marrying him." Her heart pounded. "You don't get to decide that." His hand slammed against the mirror beside her head. "Try me." 8 years earlier, Brooklyn Technical High School had never let John Mercer forget he was poor. His thrift store shoes, his patch backpack, his mother cleaning houses while his father rotted in prison. He was the boy everyone mocked. Everyone except Danielle Brooks. Beautiful, curvy, brilliant. The girl every man wanted, and the only one who chose him, which made the bullying worse. "You're really dating the charity case?" One cheerleader sneered in the cafeteria. Danielle stood from her chair. "Say it again." The girl smirked. "He's broke, Danielle. You could do so much better." John grabbed Danielle's wrist. "Let it go." But Danielle yanked free. "No, because I'm sick of this." She pointed around the cafeteria. "All of you laugh because his family doesn't have money? At least he earned everything he has. At least he has character. At least he has a heart. Unlike every fake rich loser in this room." The cafeteria erupted. Insults flew. Someone threw milk. Then another. And before John could react, Danielle was shoved hard into a table. Her lips split open. John snapped. He launched across the cafeteria with a fury no one expected from the quiet, broke kid. Punches, blood, screams, chaos. By the time security dragged him off, John's face was bruised, knuckles split, and his eyes never left Danielle. She ran to him crying. "John!" He pressed his forehead to hers despite security holding him back. "Did they hurt you?" She smiled through blood. "You fought for me. I'd burn this whole school down for you." And she kissed him, right there, in front of everyone. That was the moment John knew. He would spend his life becoming worthy of her. Present day, Danielle stumbled backward from the mirror. "My mother lied to me." John's expression remained cold. "She sold us out." Tears spilled down Danielle's face. "Why didn't you come back?" Because I promised myself I wouldn't return until I had enough power that no one could ever separate us again." She swallowed hard. "And now?" His eyes darkened. "Now I'm Deputy Minister of Economic Development for New York State." Her breath caught. The broke boy they mocked was now one of the most powerful men in the state. John reached up, brushed her tears away, and his voice dropped. "You loved me when I had nothing." His thumb traced her lip. "So tell me, Danielle, why are you wearing another man's ring?" Her voice cracked. "Because I thought you left me." John's jaw clenched. "Then take it off." She stared at him. "You don't get to walk back into my life and demand things." He smiled darkly. "Oh, sweetheart, I didn't come here to demand." His eyes dropped to her mouth. "I came here to take back what's mine." Danielle should have pushed him away, should have screamed, should have told him to leave. Instead, her body remembered him before her mind did. The way his voice wrapped around her spine, the way his stare stripped her bare, the way her heart still beat like it belonged to him. John saw it, and his voice lowered. "Tell me you don't still love me." She looked away. "Danielle." Silence. "Tell me." Her lips parted, but no lie came out. John exhaled slowly, like a starving man finally seeing food. Then he kissed her. Violent. Hungry. 8 years of rage and grief and obsession poured into one brutal collision of mouths. Danielle gasped against him, then kissed him back. Hard. Desperate. Her hands fisted in his suit. His groan turned feral. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, John rested his forehead against hers. "You're not marrying him," she whispered, trembling. "John, you belong with me." That night Danielle confronted her mother. "You took money to destroy my life." Her mother's face paled. "Danielle, answer me." "Yes," her mother shouted. "Yes, because he was poor. Because I wanted better for you." Danielle stared in horror. "He loved me. He would have ruined your future." Danielle laughed bitterly through tears. "He became more successful than every man you ever wanted for me." Her mother's face twisted. "Then marry him if you want. But don't expect my blessing." Danielle's voice turned ice cold. "I don't need it." She should have canceled the wedding immediately. Instead, she hesitated. Marcus was kind, successful, safe. He wasn't John. And maybe that was the problem. Because John had never been safe. John was fire, danger, possession, the kind of love that consumed. That night her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Look outside." Her heart pounded. She went to the window. John stood beside his black SUV under the street lamp, watching her. She texted back, "What are you doing here?" His reply came instantly. "Waiting for my girl to stop pretending she belongs to someone else." Her stomach flipped. Another text. "Come downstairs." She shouldn't. She did anyway. The second she stepped outside, John grabbed her waist and pinned her against the SUV. "You wore his ring all day." Her breath caught. "John, I hated it." His hand slid to her thigh. "Take it off." "Not like this." "Take it off." She trembled, slowly removed the engagement ring. John stared at it, then tossed it into the gutter. Her mouth fell open. "Are you insane?" "Yes," he said calmly. "About you." Then kissed her again. What neither of them knew. Marcus saw everything, from across the street, and his expression turned murderous. Marcus confronted Danielle the next morning. "You cheated on me." "It's not that simple." "Who is he?" Her silence said everything. Marcus laughed bitterly. "The broke ex-boyfriend?" Her head snapped up. "How do you know about him?" "I did my research when he came back sniffing around." Danielle's blood ran cold. Marcus stepped closer. "You think powerful men become powerful by accident?" "What are you saying?" He smiled. "I'm saying John Mercer isn't as clean as he looks." Fear flickered in her chest. "He loves power more than he loves you." But Danielle knew Marcus was wrong, because she had seen John's eyes when he looked at her. That wasn't ambition. That was obsession. That evening John took her to the penthouse overlooking Manhattan. Danielle turned slowly in awe. "You live here?" He watched her. "I bought it the day I decided I'd come back for you." Her heart nearly stopped. "What?" John walked closer. "Every success I built, every connection, every sleepless night, was for one reason." He cupped her face. "You." Tears filled her eyes. "You built your whole life for me." "No," he corrected softly. "I built a kingdom so no one could ever take you from me again." Her knees weakened. Then his voice darkened. "But if you choose him after this." His thumb brushed her lower lip. "I'll destroy every man who touches you until there's no one left but me." Her breath shuddered. That should have terrified her. Instead, it made her ache for him more. She kissed him first this time, and the second she did, John lost control. He lifted her onto the kitchen counter. Hands everywhere. Kisses everywhere. Years of restraint shattered between them. "You have any idea," he growled against her throat, "how many nights I imagined this?" She whimpered his name. His grip tightened. "Say it. I missed you." "No." He pulled back, eyes blazing. "Say the truth." Tears filled her eyes. "I never stopped loving you." John went still, then kissed her like a man possessed. Later, as Danielle lay against his chest, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, expression darkening. "What is it?" He stood. "Marcus just filed an ethics complaint against me." Her stomach dropped. "What?" John's jaw flexed. "He's trying to destroy my career." Fear gripped her. "This is my fault." "No." His eyes turned lethal. "This is his mistake." Marcus had made one mistake. He assumed John Mercer still fought like the broke boy from Brooklyn. He forgot that poor boys who clawed their way into power learned how to destroy enemies with a smile instead of fists. John set his phone down and looked at Danielle with terrifying calm. "He wants war." Her stomach tightened. "John, please don't do anything reckless." He buttoned his cuffs slowly. Reckless would be breaking his jaw. His cold smile sent heat and fear racing through her at once. "What I'm going to do will be legal." The next 48 hours became a bloodbath disguised as politics. Marcus's investors began pulling out. His pending city contracts vanished. Rumors of financial misconduct surfaced online. Anonymous leaks tied his company to labor violations. Danielle watched the news in horror. Every channel repeated the same thing. Entrepreneur Marcus Hale under investigation. Sources suggest corruption probe. She stared at John. "You did this." He adjusted his tie. "He tried to ruin me." "You ruined him back." "No," John said coldly. "I exposed what was already there." She searched his face. "How far will you go for me?" John stepped close. His answer came without hesitation. "As far as I have to." That should have scared her. Maybe it did. But beneath the fear was something darker. Relief. Because for the first time in her life, someone powerful enough to protect her had chosen to. 3 nights later, Marcus cornered her outside her apartment. His eyes were bloodshot, suit wrinkled, voice trembling with rage. "You think he loves you?" he hissed. "He's a monster." Danielle backed away. "Leave me alone." Marcus grabbed her wrist. "No. You listen to me." A black SUV screeched to the curb. John was out before it fully stopped. His fist hit Marcus so hard the man collapsed instantly. Danielle screamed. "John!" John dragged Marcus up by his collar and slammed him against the brick wall. His voice came low, deadly. "If you ever touch her again." He drove another punch into Marcus's stomach. "I will bury you so deep your own mother won't find the body." Marcus coughed blood. John leaned in closer. "You lost her." Another shove. "Accept it." Marcus spat at his shoes. "She'll fear you eventually." John smiled without warmth. "Maybe." Then he wrapped an arm around Danielle's waist and walked her away while Marcus groaned behind them. Inside the SUV, Danielle stared at him. "You could have killed him." John didn't look sorry. "He put his hands on you." Silence stretched. Then she whispered, "No one's ever protected me like that." John's jaw flexed. "Get used to it." That night, he took her back to the penthouse. He poured her wine. She never touched it. Instead, she walked straight to him. "You scared me tonight." His expression darkened. "I know. But part of me," her voice shook. "Part of me liked knowing you'd destroy anyone who hurts me." Something primal flashed in his eyes. He crossed the room slowly. "Careful, Danielle." She swallowed. "Why?" His hand closed around her throat. Not enough to hurt, just enough to make her breath hitch. "Because if you keep looking at me like that after saying things like that." He leaned in. "I'm going to forget how long I waited to have you back." Her entire body ignited. Then forget. That was all it took. John kissed her like a man starved. He walked her backward until her legs hit the bed. Then he pushed her down and hovered over her. "Tell me to stop." She shook her head. "No." His voice dropped to a growl. "Say it. Don't stop." And John broke. The night became bruising kisses, desperate confessions, and years of pent-up need finally detonating. He worshipped her body like he'd dreamed of it for years. She cried his name until her voice gave out. And afterward, when she lay tangled against his chest, trembling and exhausted, John kissed her forehead and whispered the words that stole the air from her lungs. "I should hate you for making me weak." Her brow furrowed. What? His voice turned rough. You're the only person on earth who can destroy me. She looked up. John, if you left me again, he said quietly, I'd burn down everything I built. Her heart stopped. He meant it. Every word. The next morning, the scandal around Marcus exploded. Federal investigators raided his offices. Danielle watched from John's penthouse TV in disbelief. Marcus had been laundering money through shell companies for years. It was over. Her phone rang. Her mother. Danielle answered coldly. What? Her mother's voice trembled. You need to leave John Mercer. Danielle laughed bitterly. You don't get to tell me who to love anymore. That man is dangerous. Yes, Danielle snapped. Dangerous for anyone who tries to take me from him. Her mother went silent, then whispered, You sound afraid. Danielle looked across the room at John, standing at the window with the skyline behind him, power radiating from every inch of him. No, she said softly. I sound loved. She hung up. A week later, John took her to a black-tie charity gala. Brooklyn's elite filled the room. The same kind of wealthy people who had once mocked the broke boy from public school. Now they shook his hand, praised him, begged for his attention. Danielle watched it all with quiet satisfaction. Then one woman sneered behind her champagne glass. Funny how money changes what people tolerate. Danielle turned. It was one of the girls from high school. The same one who'd mocked John in the cafeteria. The woman smiled cruelly. You really got lucky, didn't you? Dating the loser before he got rich. Before Danielle could answer, John appeared beside her, his arm wrapped possessively around her waist. He smiled at the woman. Actually, he said smoothly, I'm the lucky one. She loved me when I had nothing. Tell me. His eyes sharpened. Who loved you before your husband's trust fund? The woman's face collapsed. Nearby guests choked on their drinks. Danielle burst out laughing. John guided her away. You didn't have to do that. Yes, he said. I did. Later on the balcony, overlooking Brooklyn lights, Danielle leaned against him. You still remember everything they did to us. John's stare went distant. I remember every insult, every bruise, every time they made you cry because of me. She turned in his arms. It wasn't because of you. It was because they were cruel. He cupped her face. I swore then I'd become untouchable. A tear slipped down her cheek. And you did. His mouth brushed hers. But none of it mattered until you were mine again. Then came the final threat. A journalist leaked an anonymous tip. Deputy Minister John Mercer under investigation for abuse of office. Danielle's stomach dropped. Someone had tied Marcus's downfall directly to John. Reporters swarmed his office. News vans camped outside the penthouse. John remained eerily calm. Danielle paced. What if they remove you? He loosened his tie. They might. Fear crushed her. All because of me. He grabbed her shoulders. Never apologize for being the reason I'd destroy the world. Tears filled her eyes. What if you lose everything? His gaze locked onto hers. Then I'll still have you. But she knew what his career meant to him. Knew what he'd sacrificed. That night she made a decision. The next morning Danielle held a press conference. John stormed in just as cameras flashed. What the hell are you doing? She stepped to the podium. Voice steady. I need to make a statement. His face darkened. Danielle. She continued anyway. Deputy Minister John Mercer never abused his office on my behalf. My former fiancé, Marcus Hale, harassed and threatened me repeatedly after our engagement ended. Mr. Mercer acted only as a private citizen protecting the woman he loves. The room erupted. Questions flew. Danielle kept speaking. Yes, I love him. Yes, he fought for me. And yes, if every woman were loved the way John Mercer loves me, the world would be a better place. John stared at her like she'd stolen his breath. The press conference went viral. Public opinion flipped overnight. People loved the story. The poor boy who rose to power. The woman who loved him before the money. The reunited lovers who refused to let status destroy them. Within days, the investigation quietly disappeared. John was cleared. And that night, he carried Danielle into the penthouse bedroom without a word. Set her on the bed. Dropped to one knee. Her breath caught. John pulled out a black velvet box. Opened it. Inside sat a massive diamond ring. Her hands flew to her mouth. His voice roughened. I was supposed to do this after I became powerful enough. Tears flooded her eyes. But I wasted 8 years. He looked up at her. No arrogance. No politics. No armor. Just the broke Brooklyn boy who once fought half a cafeteria for her. Danielle Brooks. His voice cracked. You were the only person who believed in me before I had anything." She was already crying. "You loved me when I was poor. You loved me when I was powerless. You loved the version of me no one else respected." He took her shaking hand. "So now I'm asking." His eyes burned with devotion and obsession and everything in between. "Let me spend the rest of my life proving no one will ever love you more than I do." She laughed through tears. "Yes." He froze. She smiled wider. "Yes, John. Yes." He slid the ring onto her finger, then stood and kissed her like he'd won a war. Because to him, he had. Months later, their wedding shut down half of Brooklyn. The same city that once laughed at the broke boy now watched him marry the woman who never stopped being his. As Danielle walked down the aisle in white, John stared like he was seeing heaven. When she reached him, he whispered against her hand, "You're finally where you belong." She smiled. "And where's that?" His eyes darkened with that same dangerous obsession that never faded. "Beside me." At the reception, John pulled her close under the lights. Music played softly. Guests blurred away. Only them remained. Danielle smiled up at him. "What are you thinking?" He kissed her temple. "That if anyone ever tries to take you again." She laughed. "You'll destroy them?" His mouth curved. Without hesitation. She should have found that terrifying. Instead, she kissed him. Because some loves were gentle. Some were safe. Some were ordinary. And some were born in pain, sharpened by betrayal, forged in obsession. The kind of love that ruined anyone foolish enough to stand in its way. John rested his forehead against hers as the crowd cheered around them, then whispered words only she could hear. "I loved you broke. I loved you powerless. I loved you gone." His eyes burned into hers. "And now that I have you back," his hand tightened on her waist, "I will never let you go again." If you enjoyed this story of obsession, revenge, and a love powerful enough to survive betrayal, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Would you take back the one who came back rich, powerful, and obsessed with you? Because sometimes, the boy they mocked becomes the man no one dares challenge. And the girl who loved him first becomes the only woman he'll ever kneel for. Thanks for watching.